So before we start, please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and enjoy the video. Hi there guys, welcome back to the Daemon X Machina comprehensive guide series. This time we'll be tackling the boss Nightmare, which is the second colossal immortal that you come up against. He's a bit of a pain in the rectum because he is quite fast, quite big, and when you first encounter him your damage is going to be incredibly low. So we'll go into a brief breakdown of what the boss does and my tips on how to take him out. So, Nightmare's first set of attacks tend to stem from rockets. He launches little rockets and fires little guns at you. Nothing major. His next main move tends to be he will drop a crate which will release other immortals. This can range from little ones like Glimmer and more dangerous ones like Stry. Now your best tactic is just focus them down really quickly and destroy the Strys when you can. Unfortunately they will not drop parts for your arsenals, so you don't get much out of them in the way of that. But ammo is very critical early on with this boss fight. When you're at the end of the game it really isn't the case. His next attack tends to be a basically jet propelled charge. He'll turn quite abruptly towards whoever he's going to target and then he'll fly at you at high speed. The best thing to do is to boost out of the way. There's nothing really else to say in regards to it. Now when it comes to the next attack, it's his most dangerous and tends to happen quite frequently early on, but later on again, as I said, you don't see it as often. He will charge a femto attack and fly directly up into the air. At this point, he'll open his hangar bay and release like a ton of lasers. Just dodge them, boost around. They're relatively easy to avoid, but they do a lot of damage if you let them hit you. Once you've dealt enough damage to Nightmare, 4 will comment that an immortal fractal has been detected. Essentially at this point, Nightmare's going to charge a lot more often and with greater damage, and it's a lot quicker. So, if you notice on his little jet engines, the energy cores then start to emerge, which is his only weak point in the fight. Which means you can shoot the crap out of him and basically take him out really easily. He's got 2 cores on each engine. It doesn't seem to make a huge difference to how he moves if you take out the engines, other than when you do damage to both on the one wing, it tends to stutter him and he can't move for a couple of seconds. At this point it's always best to release all your big attacks, but realistically destroying the cores only really does a lot of damage and causes a little stun on his part. But it does make him a lot easier to kill, essentially. So this comes down to my strategy and how to kill him. In the early game, your best bet is to shoot the hell out of him with relatively medium to long range weapons to begin with. Having a sniper rifle on your pylons would probably be preferable for when he flies up into the air. Ammo is key in the fight in the beginning because you're really not going to have the damage output or the accessories or the parts to optimize your damage. So you're best focusing on single parts of them, like the one wing or the one engine, whatever you want to call it, and just blasting it and repeatedly, because it will cause stun damage when he basically takes enough damage to it. This makes it a lot quicker, a lot easier. When I first fought him, I ran out of ammo midway through and I had to try and tackle him with melee weapons. It is not a fun fight tackling him with melee weapons. Now, if you're finding you're getting overwhelmed by the little AIs and the little robots flying around, you can destroy the containers that he drops before they hit the ground. If they hit the ground, they'll break open and you'll get stuff flying out. But as I said, sometimes it's better to leave them because you can get ammo from the little doodads that fly out. So I'll leave that to you to decide whether that's worth it or not. Now, he has two, not alternate forms, but two alternate maps for fighting them. There is an alpha nightmare, and while it is slightly different, he's really not much different at all. It's pretty much the exact same fight. He has no new noticeable abilities. He just seems to have more HP and more damage. So the strategy pretty much remains the same. The main difference between him is in one of his maps, where you fight him over the ocean. And that is the danger. The real danger late game against Nightmare is the ocean. I've seen plenty of arsenals get completely downed just by getting rushed by him, get knocked down, and then straight into the water. So when you do that fight, you need to be aware of how high you are in the air. It's best to maybe try and engage him over the oil rigs, or at the very least try and stay above him. In the other maps, it's difficult to stay above him because the height limit of the area, but on the ocean maps, you find you have a greater height that you can fly to. So staying high up is the key to actually not getting completely one-shot in this fight. But that's pretty much it on how to fight him. So we'll move on to the blueprints now. Now, the first blueprint that you get for Nightmare is from his original form, and it's called the OAW DB31 Downstorm. Now, what this basically is, it's a booster for your auxiliary part, and it basically just makes you go downwards really quickly. In terms of applications, it's actually quite good against Nightmare when you're on the maps with the kind of sky wall that you'd come up against where you fly up and then it tells you you're going out of the area range and then you lose control and just start dropping. So it allows you to control your altitude in that kind of sense. I also see that it might have some practical uses in PvP later on when the arena comes in, because it will allow you to move in a way that is contrary to how you normally would. So if the enemy's focusing you with some heat-seeking things, you might be able to just go straight down to avoid them, or get out of the way of a beam, or basically just get to the floor if you've got superior kind of land movement on your arsenal. There's debatable aspects of what will make it useful later on, but definitely getting down to the ground so that you can use the boosting mechanic of a land-based arsenal is definitely a plus. So it's not a bad auxiliary item, but I can't say it has much use currently. Now, the next attachment that you can get from the blueprints is the OAW OB33 Hermes. Now, what this is a booster, a forward booster. It is a lot faster than the boost that you normally use, and the aspect to use it would be chasing stuff down. So it's really useful against Snatcher and Bolt, because they are quite quick and you can just catch up to them. In terms of usability and PvP later on, I would doubt its usability. It, as I said, is a forward-facing booster. You can only go forward with it, and if you use it too long, you're going to smash into walls, you're going to bang into stuff. It's best used in really short bursts to just get that little bit of range on something, or in a big wide open space against a big target. I could be proven wrong, however. In PvP it could turn out to be amazing for getting away from people, but at the same time there will be ways to counteract that, because you are only going to be able to go in one direction, so the person watching you is going to be able to counter that with maybe sniper rifles or things like that. Who really knows at this stage? So it does have a use. It is definitely great for catching up to Snatcher and Bolt. but yeah, I don't see much use in it other than that. Now the last attachment and blueprint you get is the OAW LC32 Deadly Drive. Debatably the best attachment that you can get from Nightmare. It is basically his hanger laser mounted onto your shoulder, and it does ridiculous damage. As you'll have probably seen throughout the video, I have been using it on Nightmare himself and it minces him. It does so much damage. Now the best way to use it is at point blank close range. It'll do its most damage there, and the spread of lasers will all hit close range. Really good against the Colossal Immortals because of that. They are such a huge target that you very rarely have a chance to miss. There's certain Immortals like Bolt, who has his electric kind of range attack that makes it difficult to use effectively, but against Nightmare, Rebellion, and Gunfort, they are three of the best ones. Even the big end boss, what's his face, Dominator, and Eclipse don't do well against this beam. So it is fantastic and an easy kill when you use it against the Colossal Immortals for certain. Against smaller targets, not that great. You do a decent amount of damage, of course, and it can wipe them out really quickly, but you have to be incredibly accurate, and it's not an incredibly accurate weapon. It tends to, the lasers trail off in all different directions and move on their own accord, so even if you're directly aiming at something, you're not necessarily going to hit it with pinpoint accuracy. So great against big targets, not so much against small. So that was the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want more content like this, please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and catch us next time for the next boss comprehensive guide. Thank you very much for watching.